Well, hello there, you. I'm Jay.
And I am Sean.
And today we are reviewing series. That's right. It is still quarantine, and so we are ripping through this stuff.
Yeah, we are. Can't stop us.
Just try. Please. Please, somebody. Throw us a lifeline here. Okay, so let's jump right in with Space Force, newly released on Netflix. How'd you like it?
That was pretty good.
Bringing endorsement from Sean.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
It's entertaining. So this is the one where America has decided they need a new branch of the Army to police the space.
The Space Force.
That's right. Very brilliantly named. I'm sure a whole conference of people over a period of 18 months batted that one back and forth until landing on the brilliant Space Force. And Steve Carell plays the guy who has to head this up. He's not thrilled about it.
Why would he be?
You know who's less thrilled? His wife.
Absolutely.
Played by Lisa Kudrow, FYI. And then they have a teenage daughter who is super not thrilled because she thought they were on their way to DC and then they get stuck in
Colorado.
some Space Force base.
In a mountain. Yeah.
So his family's not super great to be there, not super glad to be there. And I don't know if this was as a result of the not gladness, but his wife is also recently incarcerated.
For a long time.
For a long stretch.
And we don't know why.
We don't know why. We don't know why. So when we first meet her, she's a free woman. They go to Colorado. She is in prison. That probably puts a strain on your family, but also Steve Carell has got to get to the moon. Boots on the moon.
Boots on the moon
That's
by 2024.
The big aim, the big goal in flashing neon letters.
Yep.
Get up there. And he has President Trump breathing down his neck.
Yeah, they don't say his name, but it's pretty clear who POTUS
But they
is.
make fun of him pretty hard.
They do.
They do.
And how can you not? Space Force, boots on the moon. Mm-hmm. It writes itself, clearly.
Boy. I felt like it maybe didn't write itself well enough. Like
Yeah.
You know, I know what you mean. Some of the jokes are too easy.
Yeah.
And I thought some of this plot was undercooked. And I don't mean we don't know why she's in jail, because they're withholding that for their own reasons.
Yeah, that's okay.
And that's a little bit of bait that has us coming back to find out what the heck happened. Because it wasn't a huge gulf of time that had elapsed.
No, it's just a year, I think.
Yeah, so things went wrong. But yeah. So Steve Carell is not single, but he is less attached, although on a very limited dating pool.
Yeah.
Especially because some of them are traitors. Yeah, so they've got competitions from the Russians, from the Chinese. It's a really stressful environment. The budget is shrinking, the tech's not there, but they have to deliver it yesterday. But yeah, I mean, it was funny. Steve Carell is always funny to watch. I did think maybe they should have, spent a little more time on the writing.
Yeah, it would have been better.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't flow together all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and also he gets it way too easy.
He gets it surprisingly easy.
Things go well for how incompetent
weirdly well.
they're supposed to be.
It's not really fair. I don't know how they're doing it. I also had the feeling that they didn't know what they were writing to. Like, they did not have a story arc in mind. Things just happened and then they stopped happening.
Yeah, it did kind
That's
of
how
feel
it
like that.
felt
You're
that
right.
way.
Yeah.
And I was constantly surprised by how well it was doing. I thought certainly there would be more humor in
the failures,
in the follies, but yeah, it's just super successful.
That's what happens in America, I guess. Can't lose. Too much winning.
Too much winning. That's right. So it's on Netflix. It's certainly a worthy time waster, if nothing
It's
else.
watchable.
It's Steve Carell. It is watchable. There's some.
John Malkovich is really good in it.
He is very good. Also, Fred Willard's last role. Yeah. So give it a try. It's not the best thing on Netflix, but it is new. Over on Amazon Prime, we were watching Little Fires Everywhere. Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called.
Well, then that's what we watched. That's Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington, based on the novel of the same name. And it's two families. So Reese Witherspoon, we'll call her Family A or Family White. Her family has, grown up in this town,
suburb,
perfect little town. Highly curated, planned community. And so, they're living their super high achieving lives. Her husband, played by Joshua Jackson, is a successful lawyer. They have a beautiful home. I want to say 3 kids. 3 kids. Four kids. 4 kids?
4 kids.
4 kids, that's true. There are 4 kids. Well done. There are 4 kids.
All very close in age.
Yes.
They're all in high school.
Yeah. Very close in age.
Yeah.
And then they have a rental property that they are just renting to the newly arrived Kerry Washington and her own daughter, who is also of the same age. So she is a single mother, an artist, which I think Reese Witherspoon hears as unemployed, but agrees to rent on them because she kind of plays the mother card. And then, stuff happens.
A lot.
Fires, certainly.
Yeah.
Little fires everywhere.
Yep.
I mean, of course, she's got a teenage daughter. The other one's got some teenage sons.
Mm-hmm.
One of Reese's daughters likes Kerry Washington better. Kerry Washington's daughter likes Reese Witherspoon better. There's a lot of commingling of the 2 families, but obviously one is a higher socioeconomic status than the other, and there's presumptions made on both ends. And then there's a weird subplot of an adopted Chinese baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rosemary DeWitt plays the adoptive mother to this little baby, and she has struggled with fertility for years and years and years. And they finally get this baby, and then the baby's biological mother reappears. So there's a big court case, which of course, Pacey.
Pacey.
It's been a while. Pacey, I mentioned he was a lawyer. That's not a coincidence. He is going to ride in to save the day and represent people who, of course, are their personal family friends and try to keep the baby in their home. And then there's a lot of contention about that. Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it racist? And I think what I liked a lot about this movie actually was the 90s vibes. There's a lot of 90s references in this movie.
There's a lot. Mm-hmm. In a good way.
In a good way. I didn't think it was overpowering or unnecessary. But I think since we remember the 90s as if they were yesterday, and I still believe they were about 3 years ago, they were sort of fun to pick up on. But I think the interesting thing thematically about this movie, especially in these times that we are living in, is, of course, that Reese Witherspoon and her upstanding family would never consider themselves racist or bigoted. And I think it is, in some ways, that particular brand of racism, which is the more insidious.
Well, not in some ways, in every way.
Well, yeah, I guess.
That's the problematic one.
Yeah, that's right. And not just problematic in the obvious racist way, but also just having to contend with this sort of overreaching to show how not racist you are, which really highlights how racist you are.
Does. Yeah.
You know, when you start naming your black friends or your, black charities, or, you're really showing your cards, and they're all white.
Yes.
So, I mean, it is a very interesting mirror that they're holding up.
It is.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable in a good way, a very relatable way, a shamefully relatable way. And I think this is exactly the kind of thing we should be talking about. And maybe this gives us an opportunity to talk about.
I hope so. Mm-hmm. I hope so, because we look at it and don't say, I'm not racist. Mm-hmm. Look at it. See where your prejudices are, because everyone has them. They're built into us. Mm-hmm. Don't just deny that they exist.
No.
Look at them and fix them. Mm-hmm. Bring them out into the light, or else nothing changes.
Yeah, and until we're trying to be more aware of them, we can't account for them. We can't try to swing the balance in the other way. I think we need to acknowledge them, and in some ways take some of the shame away, because I think culturally we are all culpable and we are all tainted, and I think we have to just own up to that.
That's step one.
And it is super uncomfortable. I get that. I'm uncomfortable with it. But I think until we name the problem and admit to the problem, we are never going to be able to solve the problem. And so if racism was kind of underground in the late 90s because we were trying real hard to be PC and show everyone how progressive we were, and what we're seeing on the news right now in 2020, these riots are happening this weekend. This is what eventually bubbles up. Because guess what? Racism didn't go anywhere.
No, it's still there. The system is inherently biased. Mm-hmm. And how is that going to get fixed?
Yeah, it doesn't get fixed.
It's not going to get fixed by saying everything's fine. Everything's not fine.
That's right. I think it was Will Smith who said, racism isn't getting worse, it's just getting filmed. So it is kind of interesting to take a look back at the 90s. And I do feel like, everyone was trying to pretend we're so post-racial.
That's right.
And we see today, I mean, it bubbles up. It's gonna bubble up.
Yeah.
Unless we actually address it.
Yeah.
So did you enjoy that series?
I did. I thought it was pretty well done. Mm-hmm. It gives you a lot to think about, and it's, in addition to the racial aspects, there's also a lot of LGBTQ stuff that is also interesting to see in the lens of the 90s, of another thing that we're still, as a society, again, we're saying, we're cool now.
Yeah.
We weren't cool in the 90s. So...
No. I mean, we always want to think we're better than we are.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. And I think now we can look back then and be like, oh yeah, we really weren't cool enough.
No.
And we're not cool enough now.
No.
We still got a long way to go, so we've got to keep pushing. It's very important to do the pushing. Especially for cis, straight, white people.
Yeah, that's where the change has to come from.
I mean, we're the problem, so we need to be the solution.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it is a good reminder of that. It is a good, I think, conversation starter in these times. I think it has a good plot regardless of the themes, interesting characters who are all up to something. And certainly I wanted to keep watching episode after episode to see what would happen next, even though I read the book and I knew exactly what happened next. So yes, it was a good series and I enjoyed it very much.
Me too.
Okay. Back over to Netflix.
White privilege.
Buckle up. Yes.
White privilege at its most monstrous.
Oh my gosh. It's called Filthy Rich. It is the Jeffrey Epstein story. Oh, I mean, can we even talk about this without being sick? It was a rough watch.
Yeah, it is.
So you can't have failed to notice his name in the news these past several years, and yet it should have been in the news way more years than that.
For so many years.
Yes.
His abuse started in the 90s, according to this, what we know of, according to people that have come forward, and came forward in the 90s.
That's right. Talking about how we were repressing things and pretending we were better than we were. Oh God, no. It's remarkable to compare, and also super depressing to know how little we've changed.
He got away with this.
He super did.
For years and years, because
while people watched.
No one did anything. The police, the DA, the FBI, the media, the other people in his circles.
And then just a whole bunch of other powerful rich men.
It's crazy.
Some of which were his co-conspirators. And maybe all of whom are, in some ways...
A couple of presidents.
Yes, at least. So, yeah, this guy is a pedophile. But is not content just to be a pedophile. He has to be the pedophile ringleader. So he is a very, very wealthy man. Super wealthy man. Got rich.
In all sorts of
Ponzi
criminal ways.
Yeah. He's not exactly adverse to...
Oh, he's a sociopath.
Underhanded.
No, he's going to do whatever he wants to. Get whatever money he can, and then live this life of privilege because he can buy people off. And he does.
He certainly does. And yeah, so he and a female friend or associate or whatever, Ghislaine, whatever you want to call her, whoever she was to him, they, found very young girls and enticed them to take money for getting
services.
raped.
Yeah.
I mean, they called it giving a massage, and it actually was rape.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of rape. And then they would take those girls and force those girls to recruit other girls.
Yeah, finder's fee.
Oh boy.
Bring your friends and we'll give you $200.
A pyramid scheme for finding underage girls.
Yeah.
Really crazy. It seems the victims number in the hundreds.
They have to.
So a lot of shit was going down in Florida. Probably a lot of shit was going down in New York. He had his own private island that certainly saw a lot of shit. And, some people from that island are talking about what they saw, and they saw some shit.
A lot.
So that's a lot of people who don't come forward when they see little girls being trafficked in and out of this island. Not that speaking up maybe would have done a lot of good, because the police certainly seem to know
They knew a lot.
And we're not doing bupkis about it.
No. And he has a sweet plea deal.
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe, like, we need to be holding, I can't think of his name.
Alex Acosta.
Thank you.
Who was appointed by Donald Trump as his labor secretary.
Yeah.
Donald Trump also has some good appearances in this
In the movie. A lot of appearances. And the thing is, of course, everyone now wants to claim that they were never friends with this guy.
Yeah, right.
Although it definitely seemed this guy was the toast of the town. I mean, he's throwing his money around. Nobody really knew what he did or where he got it from. They're not asking questions because they've all got skeletons in their own checkbooks.
But as you said, even after he went to prison, to jail the first time, to the cushiest jail you can imagine, people didn't stop hanging around him. He had a party after he got out.
He had a party and a lot of people went to it.
Some questionable people.
Well, yeah. The greatest hit list of the Hollywood Me Too movement are almost all on that list.
Yep.
So while I don't want to make you guilty by association, I do want to say, what the fuck? Because if you are associating with this guy, you are condoning everything that he went to prison for.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't care how much he can donate to you, what he can do for you. What the actual fuck?
Well, that's it. You're part of the problem because that's how he got away with this.
Yeah.
Is because he would give you something to make you look away, whatever that was.
And some people think some of the looking away was due to footage that he had on a lot of people because his homes were extremely well cammed up. He was surveilling everyone. And so there's a lot of accusations that this guy was trafficking in all these young women and then trucking them out to all of his famous friends. But as part of that infamous sweetheart plea deal, they apparently promised not to prosecute any of them.
That's right.
Not even to look into it.
No, both known and unknown co-conspirators, which is the most insane thing. It doesn't make any sense.
No. Yikes.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
This is everything that is wrong in our society.
Yeah. I mean, you could not think up a more perfect example. And it is terrifying. And, you know, you talk about privilege. All of these young women come forward. And it's an impressive number of young women who come forward.
Yes, it is.
They're all telling the same story. There is crazy amounts of proof and witnesses, and it still amounts to nothing?
Yeah. Well, and they're characterized as prostitutes.
Yes, that's right. We talked about this earlier this week. I reviewed a movie called From Murder to Mercy, the Cyntoia Brown story. And she shot her John one night, killed him in 2004, and went to prison for it.
And was young.
She was 16. She was 16 at the time, but tried as an adult because
that's what you do.
That seemed fair. And the thing is, even though that's not a very long time ago, we would never call her a prostitute now. We never should have called her a prostitute. When you're talking about underage girls, whether or not you receive money, they couldn't give consent. They are not prostitutes. They are sex slaves. This is sex trafficking. This is human trafficking of children.
They're victims.
By calling them prostitutes, you make them criminals, and you treat them that way. They are victims in all of this. They're victims in all of this. And, oh my gosh, it just makes you sick to the stomach to have to really confront everything that is wrong. One case like this And you can't even call it one case when
No.
you have this sheer number of victims over years in different countries and with so many predators.
Yeah.
Wow. And it seems like it was fairly out in the open. You know, in retrospect, a lot of people always thought he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but you kept going to his parties and to his private island. This is the problem.
That's right.
Yeah, we need to shame these people.
Yeah.
We need to see these people. We need to make them visible and accountable.
Yeah, don't just turn your head.
Yeah. Because when you show the victims that people will turn their head, when you show the cops that people will turn their head, I mean, there's no point.
No.
Oh my gosh. And so they just failed all of these victims and obviously allowed so many more. Exactly. Like this just went on for years and years and years. And they knew, and they let it happen. And so I think not just the people in the pedophile ring, but everybody who knew about it and didn't do anything, they all need to be held accountable.
Yep.
Boy, that's a tough one to watch.
Yes, it is.
That's a really
It's very well
rough
done,
one. It is very well done. But of course, it has a very unsatisfying end.
Yep. Because as everyone will remember, he was finally being locked up just last year.
That's right.
And he killed himself in his jail cell.
Yeah. Although people still find that debatable. And I suppose at the end of the day, I don't even really care what happened. I'm just, you know, all of his victims feel like there was no justice there. He escaped
Yeah.
that. He took another way out. Or someone gave him that way out.
Either way. Yeah.
Either way, it is once again the victims not getting their due.
Yeah.
And of course, that's a bitter pill to swallow. But we know he is just one man. And
Yeah.
even if he is the ringleader, my gosh, there's a lot of people going to that circus.
Yep. So what's
And,
happening to them?
Yeah. I mean, apparently there's a whole list of names. Why don't we know that list? Why? No matter what sweetheart deal he got, he's dead now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's unbelievable, really. It makes you sick.
It
And I
does.
know it's important to keep telling the story, I guess. That is the only thing that I can offer the victims. Since there are still pedophiles out there, known pedophiles, there are still more victims.
It's inevitable.
That's the thing. All of his acquaintances were also rich white men. So they will find a way.
Yes, they will.
So it seems
They have their own islands.
very, very important to get these people off the streets. I don't know. I think if you're not doing your job, you should have to tell us why. Gosh, it really hurts. It hurts everybody, I think, when you see such a gross, not even a miscarriage of justice, just a complete
No
refusal
justice. Yeah.
to, oh my gosh, a complete blind eye to everything.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Well, you don't want to believe it.
No.
But it clearly happened here. And this is not the first time. It probably would not be the last time. So what's going to change? Holding people accountable is what is going to change.
That's all we
things.
have. That's right. Why do we care more about protecting these super privileged criminals than little girls? It is all about power. And whoever has the power can do whatever they want with it. That's really scary. And I think we
Well, that
tell
is
ourselves
scary. That should be
that's
scary.
not true and there are checks and balances, but it's bullshit.
The system works differently for someone with unlimited money. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But there are ways to hold those people accountable, and it starts with speaking out about it and saying that this is going on and not ignoring people. And we're getting some progress on that, but we have a long way to go.
That's right.
And we want to get there quick because the longer we take, the more victims there are going to be in the meantime. This is not okay, and rich people should not be able to get away with murder or rape or anything that they want. Pretty
The
simple.
people who built the system built it to constantly reward themselves, and yeah, here it is working
black
for
and white
pedophiles
right there,
now.
yeah.
So if that doesn't tell you it's broken, then obviously nothing will.
No.
Really. So yeah, watch if you dare, watch if you care.
I think watch, it's a tough watch, but it's a reminder
Yeah.
of there's a lot of work, a lot of wrong out there. And you can say, I'm just one person, what can I do? Well, I don't know. We're trying to figure that out.
But you know what? The Centoya Brown story proves that regular people can help, because they just tweeted out a video, kept a hashtag going until people took a second look and set her free. So in fact, regular people can make a difference. Watching stuff does matter.
Well, it does, and that's the George Floyd too. With all the
That's
footage
right.
that is available, we can see.
Make it visible.
What
That's
happened
the only
here?
way we can make them pay.
Yeah.
And even that's not foolproof,
No, but it's a start.
but that's right. That is our way in.
That's a good point.
Boy, it's rough.
See something, say
Say
something.
something. That's right. And if the series is tough for you, you can cut it in with some Space Force.
Yep.
You know,
Very easily.
that's right. They're both on Netflix. Check them out. Thank you so much for watching today, folks. Bye.
Bye.